There we go. Got to take the mic off of mute. Can't make that mistake. Anyway, what's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Forecast. Going a little bit early today. I need to do a couple of things, run a few errands before the show tonight, so as I'm going to the game. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in again. I hope you guys don't mind me going early a little bit, but hope you had a good last night. Had some good scores. There's one player in particular we're going to obviously get stuck into. But if you are new around here, make sure you do leave a like on the video if you're enjoying the content and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All the support's very much appreciated. So this will probably be a little bit of a quick one. I'll just run through the players a little bit quicker than normal. So it might be we go for about maybe 45 to 50 minutes today, and then we get through all that, and that'll be it. So it'll be a shorter one today, but that'll be fun. I'm sure we'll be able to get through as much as we can. Plus, I'll be answering your questions. So make sure you leave them in the live chat below or on the side or wherever it is on your screen as well. So let's get stuck into the game last night. So Bulldogs Sydney at Marvel. It was a bit of a weird game, not as high scoring as what I thought it would have been. I think there was only 16 goals between the two sides. I think it was, or 18 goals. I think it was 18 goals. Let me have a look. Yeah, not 18 goals. So yeah, not, and then obviously what Bulldogs got 17 behind. So that probably did help to it not being as high scoring. But yeah, so Tim English was the big scorer from last night with 138 points. He went massive. Continued his great start to the season, averaging 115 his 3 games so far, and looks really, really good. He obviously now he just looks like the guy that we probably should have started with. But yeah, that's captain hindsight for you. But as a forward as well, I don't know if Luke Beveridge said on a week-to-week basis they'll probably analyse it and see if they will bring in Steph Martin back into the fold. But with Tim English playing this well, I don't think they need him. He's playing that well. They don't actually need Steph. So as a forward, I think he's a great option to bring in. If you want to bring him in for Gorn or whatever, if you did that this week, then obviously kudos to you. Then that obviously looks like a decent move because you've got a guy that's averaging 115. And you can always chuck him in your forward line when you want to bring in another ruckman, whether that be a Gorn back, which is probably going to be like you bring him back, or if it's a Marshall or someone like that. Or maybe it could just be English. He might just stay there for the whole year as the R2. But he's definitely playing really well and a guy that you should be definitely having on your radar if he wasn't already. Josh Dunkley, he's back, isn't he? He looked back to his first half of last year best, just tackling, getting a lot of the ball, playing a decent amount of midfield time. Obviously, he's doing exactly what he did at the start of last season. This season, he's got the first 3 games, he's got over 100 in every game. But this one was a big 132. So obviously 11 tackles does help. He had a quarter where he scored 59 points, where he had 12 touches and 7 tackles in a quarter, which is ridiculous. You could see him hunting the ball last night and tackling a lot. So, yeah, really impressive to see. Really good from Dunkley to see that. And, yeah, he's just definitely going to be one of those top forwards, isn't he? So, Lockie Hunter, 112. If you had him in draft, then that would have been really good for you. Look back to playing a lot better on the wing than what he has done previously. So, that's good for him and good for draft zones if you haven't. Bailey Smith pretty much picked up where he left off. Didn't get the 150 this time, but he got another 108. So, that's good again. If you do own him classic, I know some people do. I know a lot of people jump off, but if you do have him, then you'd be decent enough happy with that. And then if you've got him in draft, then obviously that's good as well. Nick Blakey, 106. Now, he's 540 this week. He's probably going to go up maybe 35, 40 odd K, potentially somewhere around there. He's still going to be under 600K. They want the ball in his hands, and I didn't think he would have been an option, but he's now gone 81, 81, and 106 in his 3 games this year. And as a defender making money, he's still going to have a low break even. I think you can do it. If you had nothing to do next week, for example, if Sicily had a really poor scores week with Impey and Day being back, you could always move Sicily to Blakey. Like, it's not, I thought I wasn't even going to consider it, but maybe it's something you have to consider because they want to get the ball in his hands. So, yeah, interesting option there. Marcus Bonampelli, he got another 100 with 196 and 100. So 3 games, probably not exactly what you want or what you wanted to pay for him. But I don't know. He just doesn't do as well with Dunkley's team. I think he only averages about 91 points when Dunkley's in the team compared to like a 110, 115 when he's not in the team. So just something to keep an eye on. But yeah, hang on. Oh, yeah, there we go. Just checking that's working there. Pretty sure it just didn't go off the screen there, but I was just checking something on another tab I have open. Big Ubche, I'll answer. Thank you very much for putting your question live chat. I will answer that once I've got through the game, so then I can just answer all the questions in the one bit in case, like, obviously some people have miss it and they have the same sort of question. But yeah, no, thank you very much for tuning in and thank you for subscribing. I did see the notification come up that you subscribe, so thank you very much for your support there. And I'll answer that in a sec. All good, man. All good. Isaac Heaney, 95. Again, didn't have a lot of the ball. Only had about 18 disposals, but he did fill the stat sheet up again. He had 8 marks and 6 tackles and still nearly had 100. And he only had the 1 goal. So really impressive. That's now 3 weeks in a row. Normally he goes a couple of weeks in a row and then that's it. But this is 3 weeks in a row. He looks as good as he ever has. And I think that it's real and he's a good option to bring in. So someone to really consider bringing into your team. Jake Lloyd did what he had to. He got 93. He's not going to be that 110 plus that we've seen in the past, especially with them wanting to get Blakey the ball a lot more as well. So Lloyd will still average 95 or somewhere around there. So Adam Partiwala, hey Bars. Hey Adam, how you doing? Hope you're doing well on this Friday. Looking forward to the games on the weekend. But yeah, so I don't think Jake Lloyd's going to be that 110, but he's going to be around the top 6 defenders. And I assume he's probably going to be in the top 6 defenders. So Adam Trelaw did the job last night, got 88. Again, I didn't really notice him too much. I noticed him a little bit more later in the game, but he still had 27 disposals and got 88. So that's what you want from him at a minimum. So got the job done and you move on to next week and you probably take that. So you probably want 100 from guys like that, but 88, you're still taking it. Is worse scores, which we're getting to. Callum Mills, quiet night for Mills. He had 35 points in the opening quarter, faded more late. I think he's still going to be a top 8 to 10 mid. There was some lower scores in this game, so I'll just put this down to Mills. But the good thing is, low score, can have high break even. I think his break even was a little bit high this week. So his break even this week was. So Callum Mills had a break in at 120. So he's going to go down a bit. He's going to go down, obviously, down under. He's 900K exactly now. So he's going to go under that. He's going to go probably 875, 870, which is good because it'll mean that he's a lot more affordable. We'll be close to 850, maybe even 800, depending on how he goes. And then we can pounce on him as an underpriced premium, I think, in a few weeks' time. But he'll come good. I think he'll be good as the season goes on. Paddy Mccartney gave away 3 free kicks. I mean, it could have been a 50 and it would have looked a lot better, 50 compared to 41. But 41 obviously doesn't look great. But I think he's fine to field as your D6 for the time being. After round 5, heading into round 6, we're going to have Nick Dacos as our D6. So then you can move McCann on or you can put him on your bench. So it's okay. He looked good in the first half, especially. He was on, I think he could have been on 35 points if it wasn't for those 3 free kicks. Had a quiet second half. But yeah, so Paddy Mccartney, he'll be fine. But yeah, only 2 points in the last quarter doesn't help either. Jack Mcrae, oh geez, I left him last because I don't normally have too many tweets that sort of blow up per se compared to what I do. I get a couple of likes here and there, whatever. But that I'm not too fussed about that anyway. But last night, a lot of people liked the tweet and were commenting on it because they all agreed. But I said that Mcrae had a case of the head tilt last night because he was shocking last night. In the first 3 quarters, he was on 76 at 3-quarter time. You think, oh, okay, he's just going to get to his stock standard low 100 that he gets more often than not. And because he started really well, he had a tackle and a handball in the first 30 seconds of the game. I thought, oh, here we go. Mcrae's up for a big night here after people probably thought he wasn't going to get a 140. And then he was on C6 3-quarter time up. Well, we could get a 50-point quarter, get a 120 still. And then -1 points in the last quarter, if you don't mind. Seriously. And he spent bulk time on the bench. Every time, all quarters, each of the quarters, he came off about 3 or 4 minutes into the quarter and sat off. And there was one quarter, I think it was the 3rd quarter where he got stuck on the bench for at least 10 minutes. And his game time, obviously, so he played only about 76% game time. He's normally just above 80%. He played a little bit forward in the last quarter. He played on the wing. They're playing Bailey Smith, Libber, and Bont as the main, and Dunkley as the main sort of 4 in midfield. So I was baffled by that. Just unbelievable. You paid 972K and you get that. Obviously, the play in hindsight would have been starting with Petraka as your M1 or an Andrew Brayshaw or a Clayton Oliver instead and not paying up for these 4 guys. But I still thought you had to pay up for one of them to put as a safe, reliable captain. But Mcrae hasn't Mcrae really hasn't been that this year. He got a 120 in the first week, but then he got a basic 100 in round 2, and then he got another 75 this week. So, again, that's just not good enough. Not what you paid for at that price. So, there you go. Adam McCann Acoustic. I will get to your question. Thank you very much for putting in live chat. I'll get to it when I answer the questions once I've got through all the games. But thank you very much for putting it in, and I'll get to it. I'll just let you know that. And it says George Halter. I saw you said hey Bales, but then sort of just retracted. So if I don't want to say hey, then that's fine. But yeah, I don't know what happened there, but there you go. But yeah, so let's get stuck into these anyway. So because then, as I said, if you have just tuned in, I need to head off a little bit early today, probably just after 4:30. So I've got about half an hour to whip through these games and answer your questions. So I'll get through as quick as I can. So opposed to watching this game. So Nick Martin, he's back this week after COVID protocols. I don't think he actually had COVID, so I don't think he should have many after effects or whatever. Hopefully he can do quite well. I think he's a great option to put on your field this week against Melbourne. Jai Caldwell knows that merit. I think that he will be the main beneficiary of that. Maybe Dylan Shield comes back in, so maybe not as much, and then Mcrae might go back in, so just keep an eye on that. But I think Caldwell should be better. So I wouldn't be bringing him in. I'd want to watch him this week, but I wouldn't be trading him out. I'd be holding him this week because I think he'll do quite well, especially with Melbourne. They do get up points to midfielders. Chris Petraka, 142, 136 to open the season. Big start. He looks the best player in the competition at the moment. He is one of the best players in the competition, but at the moment he looks like the best. He looks unstoppable, untaggable, and if you're in the 25.4% that own him, then kudos to you. Enjoy. He's a star, and you're going to enjoy him. He's going to be probably a great VC option if you didn't have one of the Dogs or Sydney guys from last night. I think he'd be a great VC option. And if I had him and like a Lockheed Neal, for example, I would have done Petraka VC and then gone Lockheed Neal captain because I wasn't sure that Mcrae was going to get a 130, but I didn't think he was going to get a 75 last night. So Max Gorn. Now, a lot of people are trading him out after back-to-back 79s. I'm personally not yet. I know Bruce's name, solo ruck. It's tempting. English last night. If you got English last night, then hey, and if you had nothing to do, then hey, you won, and it's a good trade. You're going to be able to get Gorn at a cheaper price in a few weeks' time, right? But I wouldn't be bringing Wits in. I know he's got back-to-back 80s, but then again, you're gaining some money, but unless you can do something amazing with that money, I don't think it's worth it really too much. Ryan Marshall, we saw a 60 last week. Ryder's back in the team. Is he going to be the solo number one ruck, or is Ryder going to be cutting into that a lot more than what Hayes was? Sean Darcy's too injury prone. Again, Bruce is the option if you do want to get another ruckman, but there is a chance that Bruce sucks this week. I don't think he will, but he does. Gets dropped next week, and you've got Bruce in your ruck, and then Hayes gets dropped this week or next week because Ryder's back in the team. Then what are you going to do? So I would want to watch this week. You can always get Bruce on your bench this week for Hayes. Costs you 40K if you've got nothing else to do. And then you can watch what Gorn does. If he does crap again, then you can always, and Bruce does well, you can always move on next week. So I'll just be advising to hold for one more week. But if you have got nothing to do, like absolutely zero things to do, I guess it's a play, and it's not a bad play either. So, but as T Better said on Twitter, the rucks are set and forget, where you set them in your team and then you completely forget about them and you don't care about their scoring, and then you fix up everywhere else, which is what I'm going to be doing because I know Fat Gordon and Grundy are going to come good at some point. It's just been a rough first 2 weeks this season instead of 1 week. So, but again, Bombers, one of his favourite teams scoring against, averaged 108.2 in his career, 6 games against them. So I think he'll be good tonight. So I think he's in store for a big 120. Jake Bowie, is what we saw last week maintainable? I'm not sure. Simon Goodwin said he had the exact same role he did in round 1 and he scored a 38. But last week just got more of the ball. So you could ride the break even game here and he could rise in cash, but he could give you 40 and then stop making cash. So I'd want to see another week from him first. If he gets another 80 plus or a decent score, you could always look at him next week. Like, for example, you could go McCartney up to him, and then you're probably not getting much difference, whereas Bowie's going to make money. So, yeah, I'd be holding fire for one more week, but let's just see what happens. But other players watching the game, Tex Wanganeen's making his full debut. So, again, cheap guy, maybe if he stays in the team, might be an option as a downgrade. Joel Smith, if you have him on your bench, then he's going to make you some more money. I don't know if I'm bringing him in now. He's about 260 odd, so he's a bit too expensive now. Jake Stringer, is he going to get more midfield time? I assume he will as he builds his fitness up. Andy Mcrae, is he going to play more midfield and lose potentially getting his defender status? Clayton Oliver has looked good in the first 2 games. I know he got a basic 100 in the first game, but he did give 7 free kicks away. that could have been a 120. Got a 120 last week, and he'll be good again. And Darcy Parish with no merit, I think he's either going to go one of two ways. I think he's honestly going to get you some big scores. He's going to give you some dirty scores. He's going to get tagged because he's the only one to tag in there now. So just be aware of that. Showdown tonight, Adelaide versus Port Adelaide. So Zap Butters, I just love the way he goes about it. He's crash and bash. He's such a small guy, but he just puts his body on the line at every contest. 11 tackles last week for a 137. He'll be good again tonight in the showdown, and he looks like he's definitely going to be one of those top six forwards. He's shown he's got that big ceiling now, and he's got that midfield role, as we know, so he's great. Jordan Dawson, since half-time of round one, he scored 53 points the second half of the Fremantle game round one, and then he got 111 against Collingwood last week. So he's looked really good in his last 6 quarters. The Crows want the ball in his hands. He's a great kick. He's a good option at 7.44. He's a guy that I'm more than likely going to be bringing in this week. So, yeah, a good option to bring in. I'd rather him over Houston at the exact same price. And I think I'd almost rather save the extra $90,000 from a Doherty or if you got Lloyd last night, because Dawson saves you a little bit of money. You don't want to be paying up full price for these premiums at the first few rounds. You want to be getting in guys that are underpriced, guys that are going to make you money, or that are undervalued that you think will be in the top players in position. I think Dawson can be a top 6 defender. If he's not top 6 defender, I think he's going to be a top 8 defender. So Roy Laird, my boy Laird, he's back. Man crush. I love Laird. He's back. As I said in the article, words can't describe how happy I am to see him back. He's expensive at $937K, and I wouldn't be paying for him in Classic yet, obviously. I'd want to see how it'd just be interesting to see how it goes with Keys and Laird in there tonight. Obviously, you've got no Sloan, so that is obviously all 4 of them won't be playing, but I think he'll be good. I think Laird will still average 110 regardless, because I think he's the main guy in there. But yeah, we'll just see what happens. Ben Keys, 132, 131 the first 2 games. If he's the one of only 2 players in the comp that scored 130 in both games, and the other guy's Chris Petraka. So it's elite company that he's part of, right? No Laird has obviously meant that he's played a lot more in the guts. When Laird's back tonight, when Sloan gets back, when all of them are back, if he continues doing this, I think we have to start really considering him as a legitimate option, because at the moment we sort of look at, he was priced high last year, had a good year. Last year, he's just doing well at the start of this year. But if he keeps doing this, even when Sloan that threat and take, you've got to consider him, because he's getting 130s. Like Mcrae didn't even hit 70, didn't even hit 80 last night, and Keys has hit both those two pretty much at the start of the third quarter of each game. So definitely an option. Only 1.7% of Classic coaches have got him. He's obviously very expensive, but yeah, I think you got to keep an eye on what he's doing, because he could be an option. He could even just go back and just get basic hundreds and 90s and then average like your 105 for the year, and then he's sort of just too expensive and you never really looked at him. But yeah, just a guy to keep an eye on. Matt Crouch increased his game time from 66% to 74% last week. Played over 80% first half, which was, I was like, yes, good. He's playing nearly 80% of the game. It's great. But then he played so little of the second half, and it went down to 74%. Like, I remember he spent a lot of time on the bench in last quarter. I'm hoping he can up it to 80%, and he'll average, well, not average, but he'll get more 110 plus scores. Last week, he would have got a 110 if he played up near that 80%, but he didn't. Hopefully, he'll play near 80%, and he'll just continue to make money for us and continue to be a guy that gets consistent hundreds, and you don't have to trade him out straight away, and he'll just be a guy you can fix up later in the season. So, yeah, there you go. And then the other players in the game I'm probably looking at. So, Ollie Wines should be good again this week. Normally plays quite well in the showdowns. Dan Houston, Crows do give up points, so Dan Houston on a wing could go big tonight. Josh Rochelle, I think you can still play him tonight against Port. I think he'll still be good for at least a 60. Sam Skinner, I think if you've got him on your foot, you need to get him off. He'll still make money. He's still in the team, but yeah, I don't think you can play him. He scored a 33 last week. That's not good enough. Boat got a 1/5 last week. He just keeps on keeping on, doesn't he? Just if you got him in draft, that's great. I don't think you can get him in Classic. I think he's too expensive now, and that there's probably better options around his price anyway. And I don't think he'll be a top 8 mid, but he just looks really good, doesn't he? Jackson Mead and Jed McEntee as well, also playing. McEntee's obviously making his debut, and Jackson Mead is in the team. So just a couple of rookies to keep an eye for. If you want to jump on one of them, you can always, but I'm just not sure about their job security, really. So GWS and Gold Coast at Giant Stadium on Saturday. This is twilight game as well, so no early game, because they were initially planning that the AFLW Grand Final is going to be the first game tomorrow, but because of COVID, they got delayed a week, and it will be next week. So that's why the doubleheader's on tonight, and there's no game to start tomorrow. But there you go. So you got a few hours tomorrow to sort of play around with what you're going to do. Lockheed Whitfield struggled this year. I wouldn't be trading him out. He should be good. He hasn't hit 90 plus yet this year. I think this week's a good week to do it. I think he will hit at least 90 plus this week, and he'll go over 100. Good opportunity against the Suns to do that, and he'll be fine. I wouldn't be trading him out. It's not like a ruck where there's an obvious 400k player where it's like, oh, they're making bulk cash and you can get him in. There's Jake Bowie, but I would not be going Whitfield to Bowie. That's just something like that's fraught with danger. You can Whitfield get you 120 and Bowie get you 40, and you've lost. Even though you've gained cash, you've lost a lot of points. So I wouldn't be doing that, something like that. But yeah, Toot Miller, I had a little doubt in my head that I might Rao doing so well. Maybe Toot goes back to averaging close to 110, 105. Nah, no chance, no chance. He got 147 last week, looked awesome again. He's going to average 115 plus again. He's going to average close to 120. He's just going to be so good. And he was guy of the top four that you probably want to go for. Obviously, him instead of Mcrae for me this week would be great. I'd have another premium. I'd be 75 points. Probably not 70. He could get a 150. Could that score it? Doubly score. So, but yeah, Toot Miller, he's great. So if you've got him, then enjoy. And if you don't have him, we're all going to need him at some point. So yeah, Braden Bruce finally gets his debut solo ruck as well. Flynn's dropped. As I said before, with Gorn, you can go him down to Bruce. But I don't know if I just want to watch it for a week. Bruce has been injured in his past. It's fraught with danger just doing it after not even seeing a game. I want to see this game this week. If he does really well and Gorn does poor again, then this is something we can reassess next week. But I would just be holding fire for one more week. But if you have got nothing to do and you want to do it, then by all means do it, because I don't think it's a bad play at all. But just have a contingency plan in place in case it doesn't work in a few weeks' time and you need to find money to go Bruce up to someone. But I guess because Wits is only 300k more expensive, you could always get to a Wits. But then if Wits does, I don't know, I just like setting for getting rucks and not worrying about it. But I'm considering getting Bruce on the bench because he's only 40k up from Hayes. That's probably going to happen next week. If I've got a free trade, I might do something like that. But yeah, not this week. I've got one other thing I want to do first, but I could change it. I don't know. So Tom Green, back-to-back hundreds, increased 92k already. He's looked good and still has a low break even. So I think you can still jump on him, break him 45, looking really good. And breakout looks like it could be very real this year. Matt Ralph, only 46. Not what you want to see. He tagged last week and he did that poor at it, running with Petraka and Oliver. I don't think he's going to be doing that again. So I think he'll be fine. Some people have moved him on. If you're getting in a big guy like a Cripps or a Lockheed Neal, then hey, by all means do it, because they're going to be in the team more than likely for the majority, if not the whole season, whereas Matt Rao's probably not going to be. So if you're doing something like that, then I guess you could do that if you've got nothing to do. I've looked at doing something like that this week. But yeah, if you want to do that, then by all means you can. But I think Rao will be better than that 46 he got last week. We has to, otherwise he will be gone next week. Tim Taranto has looked good all this season. Again, he'll be a guy that we can look at bringing in the next few weeks. Stephen Connellio, he hasn't done anything wrong. He's been solid, averaging 92.5 over his 2 games. He should be good again against Gold Coast. Josh Kelly got over the 100 last week. Hasn't put up a 110 plus score yet, but it could be this week where he does do that. And Jake Stein is coming in, or Stein, however you say it, is coming in this week. 190k defender. If you're looking for a cheap downgrade option, could he be the guy? I'm not sure, but I don't think his scoring will be quite there. But his job security should be good. Phil Davis out for a while with that terrible hamstring injury he did last week against Richmond, so maybe he's an option to look at bringing in. Collingwood Geelong on Saturday night. So Jack Crisp responded. Thank you very much to him and his girlfriend, fiance, wife for making that video, because that certainly helped. And he went bananas. He passed his score of 51 midway through the second quarter. So he looked good last week. Hopefully that's a sign of things coming, and he should be a top 6 defender. Should be good. Duncan with an 80. Good to see him on the park. Should be among the top 6 forwards and an upgrade target for us, and will be better than that 80 as he builds his match fitness back up. Jordan De Goalie, second week in a row, he's had the most CBAs for Collingwood, obviously removing Grundy to Ruckman. He's looked good, man. He's looked good. And I did predict this in the preseason. I thought he was going to be a top 6 forward. I then was like, well, he didn't play much preseason. I couldn't start with him, even though I did say in the article I was going to start with him. And he's looked good. So if you want to bring him in, he's a good option to bring in. I think that this role is going to continue. Maybe Mcrae and Kruger going out. I know that Darcy Cameron's in the team, but does Goalie play more forward? I don't know, but just something to watch. But I think his role is pretty much set, so they're going to be doing that. And yeah, if you're in the 6.2% that own him, then you're enjoying what he's doing at the moment. He only got an 88 last week, but still, it's still good for what you want from Goalie. Tom Shaw only got 75 last week, so I was disappointed when I did my weekend report last week with that. But I didn't actually realize he only played 60% game time because he got stuck on the bench with the whole Buddy 1,000th goal celebration. I think he pretty much stayed off for like the last 6 minutes. I didn't worry about putting him back on because the game was done. So yeah, if he played a lot more game time, it would have been close to probably over a 90. So he'll be better this week. And against Collingwood, good matchup for him to score pretty well. And then Brody Granny, similar to Goodwin. To be honest, I'd almost I don't know who said it, but they'd be more concerned with Grundy because he doesn't looked like what we thought. We thought he said in the preseason lost a little bit of a weight, a bit leaner, and he looks, I don't know, he just hasn't looked back to the ruck pig that we saw a few years ago. He looks back to sort of some last year where he sort of just, I don't know, just doesn't do as much around the ground, doesn't hold big pat marks like he was. So just something to keep an eye on again. But yeah, I wouldn't be moving Conor Granny on again. I'm set and forgetting. I'm leaving it at that. So again, Tyden Stinger, if you've got him, had a poor game last week, should be better than that. But again, small forwards are going to be inconsistent. Adams played low game time, scored poorly last week, had a migraine. So again, he's going to be a guy that's going to be under 800K in a few weeks I think after this week. And he'll be a guy that once he starts scoring a lot better, a guy we can consider as a underpriced premium to bring in our sides. Still side bottom. Could he be a good scorer among the top 6 forwards? I don't think he's going to be a top 6 forward, but just continue watching what he's doing. De Conning's back in the team this week, which is good for like the 60-odd% of people that own him. So that's great for him to be back in straight away. Paddy Andersfield had a poor last week. Well, better than that. But again, I don't think he's going to be close to the top 8 midfielders. So could be an option for you to trade out potentially. If you don't, then I think he'll be good against Collingwood. Cam Guthrie hasn't quite lived up to his price tag so far this season. If you did pay for him, hopefully he can have a better game this week. Nick Dacos, just again, looks really good and has been playing well. And hopefully, and will continue his defender role and get defender status. And then Reece McInnes make his debut, 190K mid. Not a bad downgrade option either. I'd probably want to see what he does this week and if he stays in the team next week before I launch into him. Brisbane and North Melbourne. So Dane Zorko on one leg last week, got another 145. Heat plus sixes. Should get defender status in round 6 if he continues his halfback role, which it looks like he is. Will be a top 6 defender if he does, and should be good again this week for North Melbourne. His leg issue is a bit of more of a pain tolerance issue. He had surgery on his calf in the preseason. It's just to getting the blood flowing through the muscle and just working and building up his match fitness. So he'll be fine. I don't expect him to miss games unless he actually does an injury. Aaron Hall only 92 last week, but again that could be his lowest score for the year because he's just that good. Tough matchup with Brisbane at the Gabba, but should be fine and should be good again this week. Jared Lyons, I'm not sure exactly how much time he's playing forward. I know he's not playing as much time midfield. Could he get forward status? Because if he got forward status and he drops in coin, he could be an option as a forward, could be a top 6 forward, but back-to-back 83s, you want to see more from him. So if I'm hoping he gets forward, that'd be a good option to put in our forward lines. Lockheed Neal, I did say last week that if he played over more than what he did in the 76% game time played against Port, and he plays a lot more game time upwards to 85%, he'll get a good 120 plus score. What did he do? Played 93% game time and got a 145. So he did a lot better than what I thought. And averages 106.5 against North Melbourne in his career 11 games and averages 108.5 at the Gabba in his career 30 games. So great captain option this week. He will be my captain option heading into this weekend because I have Mcrae VC and I'm definitely not taking that. So he'll be my captain. And Tristan Sherry or ex-Sherry will be is still, I think you need him. -5 break even, number 1 ruck for North Melbourne. He'll be over 400K next week, more than likely. So this is probably the last week to jump on. You could still jump on him theoretically next week, but 400K is a lot to spend on a guy. Excuse me, sorry, sneeze there. I was a bit like the Chief, Jason Dunstall last week. If you know, you know. If you saw the halftime of the Crows Adelaide game, Crows and Collingwood game, you would know exactly what that's about. Cherry, good option to bring in into your team, and I'll be doing that this week. Other players to watch: Jason Horn-Francis, he should be good again this week. Good to play on your field. Daniel Rich, North Melbourne, decent matchup, should be good, should score quite well. Josh Simpkin didn't score very well last week. I thought, yep, break even. The score he got, the 115 or 116, attend every CBA in round one. I thought, yep, good. People that held him in the preseason after a dirty score, you did well. Then just up another one. You didn't deserve that if you did hold him. Hope he'll be better than that, hopefully. But yeah. So unfortunately, he just had a bad week. And Noah Answorth, 366K. He's got a 66 last week as well. So, but potential option back there. If you don't have any coin, you just need to get like someone on your field instead of Skinner, then you could always get a guy like Answorth and he'll make a little bit of coin for you. But I'm not sure if the upside's there. Maybe even guy like Nasai and Miller for about 100K cheap or a little bit under 100K cheaper. So Carlton Hawthorn, let's have a look at this. So Sam Doherty, back-to-back scores 95, 106 has been really good. He'll be find a good option to bring in your defence. Him, Lloyd, and Dawson are probably the three guys I'm looking at. I know Short did well last week, but he's just, I don't know. I owned him last week. He does give you those 60 scores every now and again. Doherty's a lot more safer, I think. So Doherty's a good option. Paddy Cripps looks unstoppable at the moment. 123, 112 in his 2 games so far. He just looks so good. And Hawthorn give up truckloads of points to midfielders. Boat 152, Amon 148, Butters 137, and Wines 126 last week. Cripps will be big again this week, I think. So, be prepared for another good score. Josh Ward played better last week than we did in round one. Got an 85. He'll with that good score, he'll now make us decent coin over the next few weeks. Hopefully, he continue scoring well and make even more coin. You can easily put him on your field this week. I think I'm looping him with Josh Rochelle in my midfield at the moment. So I'm going to loop Rochelle tonight. If he doesn't score well enough, I'm going to play Ward instead. That's probably what I'm going to be doing this week. So that's what I'm looking at. James Sicily, Impey Dake and Dacum is interesting. So just watch that this week. I think Sicily will still be fine. I think he'll still get your 75, 85 plus score. But yeah, just something to keep an eye on. With all those guys back there, Scrimshaw, Hardwick, Jath, Day, Impey. Maybe Impey plays forward because they got on a wing because they got so many guys back there. Or Will Day plays a wing maybe or something like that. But yeah, just something to keep an eye on. But I think Sicily will be fine. He's still the general back there. He's still the guy that takes some kins as well. So I think he'll be fine. Todd Mitchell hasn't hit a ton these first 2 games. I would imagine he'll come good at some point. Hasn't had as many CBAs as what I thought. I'm not sure if that's because the groin issue and him working back to full fitness or if it's actually because Sam Mitchell wants to play the kids. So just keep an eye on that. If he doesn't do well enough this week, I think that's when you can move on from a premium like that, 3 games in a row. You're going to get Mitchell back in at some point, but you could always go him down to a Tom Green or a Paddy Cripps if you don't have him or someone like that. Make some money and then use that to upgrade elsewhere if that gets a decent upgrade. Or you can even go up to a Petraka or a Brayshaw or Toot Miller or something like that if you've got that coin and you want to just get another big premium guy in your midfield. So I think he'll be fine. I think he'll score well against Carlton this week. Zach Williams got 100 last week. Just see what he does this week. I think it's too risky, I think, still to pick him, but he's cheap. If he gets another 100, then potentially someone we could talk about next week. Conor McDonald scored well last week with a 66. He looks like he'll be in the team long term. So if you've got him on your bench, then he'll be making more coin, which is good for the coach that own him. I do as well. Corey Durden, only a 22 last week, so not great. He hopefully should be better. Hopefully he can get to a 50 so he can continue to make coin. Because if he only gets another 20 or 30 this week, you probably have to look at moving him on because he's not going to make enough coin with his break even. So yeah, just something to watch. Sam Walsh, obviously with Adam Chera back this week as well. So Adam Chera's the other one I'm watching. But it's just interesting to see this midfield mix, like with George Hewitt, Matt Kennedy, Adam Chera, Sam Walsh, Paddy Cripps. Just interesting to see how this all works out. I think that it will still work out fine. I think that you'll still have pretty much a lot of them scoring quite well. And I think George Hewitt will still score well as well. So don't worry about him in defence. And yeah, and as I said, Adam Kennedy and Matt Chera. Meant to be the other way around. Adam Chera and Matt Kennedy. Just, keep an eye on what they do this week. They should both be good. Richmond and St Kilda, or St Kilda and Richmond, because it's St Kilda home game. Jaden Short, 131 last week, rebound after his 60 out the week before. Again, just shows why you don't trade premiums out. But I wouldn't be... I owned Short last year, as I said before, and he can give you those 60s and 70s a decent amount. Like, he can go 2 weeks scoring 90 plus, and then he'll give you 70. Whereas you want guys consistent if you're paying that much money for him. So he's still a good option. You could see he's still going to be a top 8 defender, top 10 at worst. But yeah, I prefer Dawson. I don't know if that's Crow's bias coming. I just see Dawson as being safer because he played so poorly in the first half in the first game. I hardly noticed him. He got 23 and he still got to a 75. Whereas Short played poorly and got 68. That was helped with kick-ins. If he didn't take kick-ins, he would have been poor. But I know he does take kick-ins, so you can't say off he didn't take kick-ins because he does take kick-ins. So he's still a good option. I'm not saying that, but I'm just not as hot on him as Doherty and Dawson and Aaron Hall and Jake Lloyd. I'd rather those guys first, but that's just personal preference. If you are hot on Jake Lloyd, then by all means you pick him because he's underpriced. He averaged 99 without Hawley. So, yeah, not a bad option. Daniel Rowley, 500k is cheap. Again, he got 101 last week. I want to see it again before I really consider it as an option. But, yeah, just something to look at again this week. Break even to 33. So, if you want to jump on, if you've got nothing else to do, then not the worst thing in the world, but it is a little bit fraught with danger. Jay Gresham, playing decent midfield in the last 6 quarters he's played as well. Only got a 76 last week. Could still be an okay option to bring in your forward line. Just an awkward price at 564. So, bit of a weird one. So, maybe watch him again this week, see what he does. Maybe you could bring him in just under 600k, but yeah, something to keep an eye on. Jack Steele hasn't hit the heights he did last season of getting consistent big scores. He still had 13 tackles last week, but no tackles. And you're paying over $1 million. You want more bang for your buck. Hopefully, he gives it to you this week. It's Richmond. I think he should be good again. Hopefully. Jack Hayes as well, which hopefully in a couple minutes we'll find out if he's in the team. If he gets dropped, that's going to be really harsh. But Ryder's back in. Can they play all three? Something to keep an eye on. Brad Hill has scored one of the 2 games he's played. Again, 630. Again, if he's close to 400k, could be an option, but 650k nearly, just a bit more expensive. Don't think you can do it. Jack Sink has been playing midfield. Interesting option. I probably wouldn't do it personally, but again, if you've liked what you've seen and you want to jump on, you can't afford a Dawson that, then go ahead. You could, if 710, he's still cheap enough if he can play heavy midfield. And then Ryan Marshall, right to come back. Is he going to play enough time in the ruck that he has played in round 1? And then even last week as well, like Jack Hayes played bit more in the midfield. So West Coast Freo teams for this game will not be announced until what's the time exactly? 2:30 p.m. Australian Western Time or 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So just keep 5 p.m. Adelaide, 5:30 pretty much everywhere else, and then 2:30 in Western Australia. So just keep an eye for teams. But Eddie Brayshaw went bananas last week, 181. When's he going to start calling attention? I think sooner rather than later, personally. And I don't think I'd be jumping on at that expense. He's that expensive. He's so expensive. I'd be waiting a bit, or I'd be just holding and going for someone else. But yeah, 9.1% of coach can be happy if no one jumps on him because he's been really good and he went bananas last week. Paddy Nash, again, played on a wing, looked good last week, got a 92. Will continue to make money. I'm probably going to have to bench him this week because of Nick Martin being back and I've got all the guys back there. I don't exactly know if Nash will play because we don't know who's going to play in the West Coast Fremantle game. So, yeah, just something to keep an eye on. I've got to play Nick Martin this week, and I'd rather play Sherry and Will Brody on my field over Paddy Nash this week. So Nash probably going to be on the bench. But playing 93% game time, he's only been there less than a month. It's pretty impressive. And I think that wing spot opposite Gaff is still up for grabs. And I think Nash could be there even with all the guys back. So, yeah, Tim Kelly looked good early last week. Faded as the game went on. Scored a 76. 699k. Could be a cheap option for us to consider in the next few weeks. He already got COVID, so he's unlikely to get it in the near future. So could be an option that we could look at as well. But yeah, probably not this week. You'd want to see some gains first before you launch him. Caleb Sarong didn't train with the main squad yesterday. So again, keep an eye on that. He might not be in the side. Hadn't scored great in the first 2 weeks. So if you want to trade him, that's an excuse to get rid of him. Then by all means, trade him out as well. Just keep an eye on if you are holding him. Just keep an eye on if he's playing. Hayden Young looked good again, 102 last week. Again, look, if you want to launch in that, you can. It's just, again, awkward at 582k. So if you can't afford one of the bigger guys, I think he's a decent option under 600k that you can look at bringing in. Will Brody, 109. I went on my rant last week. 61% game time. Baffles me still. Hopefully, no Justin Longmuir this week. Maybe with Jamie Graham, he plays more game time this week. But, yeah, just I don't really get what that's about. Paying him $600,000 for the year and you're paying him 61% game time. And hopefully Nathan O'Driscoll gets named in the team this week and plays. So Yeah, hopefully he does. So, all right, let's get in these questions. I have to rip through these because I've got to head off in a few minutes. So let's get through. So, Big Chase, if you've got any questions, leave them in live chat. I'll try and get to as many as I can, as quick as I can. So, Big Chase says, hey, mate, unsure what to do with Gibcus. Hopefully, I can't downgrade Hoff and Gibcus to him on to a. Hopefully, I can. Hang on. Unsure what to do with Gibcus. Unfortunately, I can't downgrade Hoff and Gibcus go him to Foley. Should I double downgrade Gibcus and Hoff and play Skinner? I think playing Skinner, I think you've got to get Skinner off your field. I'm doing that this week, and I'm unfortunately sacrificing Pat Lipinski. I only brought Lipinski in last week, which I hate doing that. I hate bringing in a player and having to trade him out the week after. And I can stomach it when it's an injury because, I couldn't do anything about it, but I can keep Lipinski. It's just there's no one else for me to get rid of except for Lipinski to give me enough money to get Dawson in. I could get rid of Rowell and get in Hayden Young or Brad Hill or someone like that. I'm not sold on that idea. I could go Wayne Miller down to Nasai Wanganeen Miller, keep Lipinski for a week and just assess everything and go and then potentially get rid of Lipinski next week. That's something I am half considering as well. But at the moment, it is unfortunately Lipinski out and I'm getting Dawson in. But yeah, I wouldn't want to play Skinner on your field. You could play Bowie for the break-even game, I guess. But yeah, I wouldn't be double downgrading. And I wouldn't be looking at Foley either, just because, again, he could be out at any point with all this West Coast stuff going on. And I think even when all the guys are back, he's not going to score as well, and he might not even be in the team. So I'll be looking at something else other than that. Anthony McCann Acoustic. Hey, Bales, got Grundy and Gawn. If Hayes isn't named, I'm thinking paying the 50k to go Bruce R3, Cashton on the bench, and flexibility for ruck option for round 14 by thoughts. Love it. Love it. I'm a big fan of this. I'm all for this. If I didn't have Skinner on my field, I would be doing exactly that this week. But with Skinner on my field or DeConning, I don't feel safe playing either on the field. So I'm going to have to fix that up this week more likely, unless I go into Nasai Wanganeen Miller. Then maybe. But yeah, something that I would love to do. So yeah, I'd definitely be happy to do that. George, hey mate, not sure why my first hello disappeared. Yeah, I don't know what I did either. It's like I said hello and I said hello back, and then it said message retracted. So Miller to Bowie, which gets Wanganeen Miller off my field, or just do Lipinski to Cripps like I planned and hold Miller. That's a tough one because I'm just not sold on Bowie if he's going to continue doing this. And I think Wanganeen Miller could quite easily outscore him this week. And Lipinski to Cripps, Lipinski had one bad game. Cripps is going to be better. If you've got absolutely nothing else to do, I could tick that off because Cripps has looked so good. But I don't know if I'd hold Miller though, because I don't know when Miller's going to come back. So I probably would do Bowie to Miller. So Miller to Bowie and just hold Lipinski for the week. And if Lipinski has another bad week, then move him on. Because at least Bowie's going to play. And at least then you've got Nasai Wanganeen Miller on your bench to make you some coins. I'd probably go Bowie and just hold Lipinski for this week. Anna Parthiwala said, do I hold Riley O'Brien or do I get Rob and Baldwin out? Bruce and Sherry in with 199k left for next week. So I know you did send me this question on Instagram as well. So thank you for putting in the live chat as well. With that, at this point, I probably would go O'Brien down to Bruce because I don't think O'Brien's he's not going to be the top two rucks. He's not going to make you coin. So I would go down to Bruce. That I would definitely tick off. I would be very happy going Bruce down. You could wait a week if you want to, but as you said, you're going Baldwin up to Sherry, which I think is a fantastic trade. Baldwin not named again. He could just be a red dot for a long period of time on your bench, and Cherry's going to make you a lot of money. So, yeah, I would definitely be doing that. So, yeah, good trades there. So, big Che, cheers, man. All good, man. Happy to answer your questions. So, I think that's it. I've got to head off. So if you did send me questions through on the article version, I will get back to you. I'll reply to them when I'm back doing my few things I need to do, but I do have to head off. But if you are tuning in and you did answer a question, don't worry. I will answer your questions in depth on there. I normally get to your questions on the live stream, but I do actually have to go. So, yeah. But thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for, again, another weekend forecast in the book. I'll be live again on Sunday night straight after. Actually, won't be straight after the final game. I'll be about an hour late because I've got a family dinner for my dad's 50th I'm going to. So I will be a little bit later than what I normally am. Hopefully, I think the game starts I'm pretty sure the final game starts at 5:50. Actually, let's have a look. So, also for anyone that want to know as well, Sam Hayes has held his spot. So Derek Joyce, Cooper Shum, Ryan Burns out, Paddy Ryder, Dougal Howard in, Ben Miller and Jake Arts out, and Dylan Grimes in. No, Jack Rewalt had a setback with his thumb, but yeah, Sam Hayes does hold. So if you are looking at like trading or whatever him, you could hold him for a week, so he'll be there. And then Lewis Young, Adam Chera in, Mitch McGovern, Oscar McDonald, Lockie Fogarty are out. Tom Phillips and Ben McAvoy are out, and then Will Day comes in. So Ned Reeves will be the solo ruck there. So yeah, no Impey. So Impey's not in there, and neither's Jack Martin. So there you go. So yeah, 5:50 is the game. Games normally go for just over 2.5 hours. So what's that? Maybe just around 8:30. I'll hopefully be live before 10 o'clock Adelaide time. That's at the latest I'll be live. So, but yeah. So hopefully I'll message people when I'm about half an hour within going live on the Sunday. But yeah, just I'll just be aware of that. So yeah, so Aaron passed well. Yeah, thanks. With that, got 29 players out of 30 playing. Yeah, I'm the same as well. I got 29 out of 30 this week, which is always nice, mate, with all your players making money. So that's always good. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn notifications on so you don't miss when I actually go live. All social media are in the description below, so follow me on there. If you've got any other questions, I'll get to them tonight for the game. Anything else that I normally say before I head off? I don't think there is. So if you want to check the written version of the article out, head over to DT Talk. Link to the website is in the description below. That article's on the website if you want to read that as well, if you missed parts of it today, or even just go watch this back. So, and if you are watching replay, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments under here below. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm out. Cheers.